The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And as always, we meet at the sacred and appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So we have a little bit of washout that didn't have much volume on the way down, doesn't have very much on the way up. Of course, the overarching news of the week is China's close, so we'll have a lot happening on Sunday, Monday as they catch up. And, of course, we go to earnings and more earnings and a little bit more earnings as we go into the next few days. After the bell tonight, we've got Tesla, IBM Flex, Steel Dynamics, Lam Research, Ameritrade, CSX, a little choo-choo for you. Seagate Technologies, United Rentals, got a bit out here. So enough to move the market. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, we go to Valero Energy, Archer Daniels, Midland, Supermarket to the World, Dow Chemical, American Airlines, SAP, Northrop Grumman, Nokia, Blackstone, MasterCard, Southwest Airlines. We got a lot. Tractor Supply tomorrow. So we're really starting to warm up. At best, you could probably say that earnings are coming out as something that you could consider maybe flattish in the market. And let's see here. Movers, that's what we want to look at. We'll look at all the ones that are moving for today. But there's not a lot to hang your hat on. I did want to see if I could put a position on if we got back up here one more time on lighter volume. It may seem counterintuitive, but it looks to me like the market's just going to try, and each time try on lighter volume to the top. And these are not easy to go short. I haven't been short yet. The one trade I really liked today was Tesla, and I brought it up in the newsletter, and that was because TSLA, because people are bat crap crazy shorting Tesla. Did I have that up there? Let's go. I closed it. Okay. Yesterday, 45% of all trades were originated as short positions in Tesla. The day before, 40%. The day before that, 34%, 34%, 34%, 34%, 34%. As we've said, the one thing you want to worry about is when people quit shorting these highly shorted stocks, and you get kind of some whipsaw. But for whatever reason, maybe people know people just doing the wrong thing. The more people short, generally, the more the stock goes higher. When those folks that have been shorting it and have driven it up to much higher prices than you would think are even possible, then it can go back down. But you need those short sellers to get out of the way. And that means that even after the bell, we might see some more fireworks for Tesla as people are just nuttily short this stock. And, the one everybody has to know that there's two things about equities. One, they don't always reflect the current state of the economy. And two, the stock is not the company. And I think the stock is not the company really applies to Tesla here. Many people have a view that is somewhat dogma on that has a lot more to do with politics than has to do with the company. Now, I'm the first one to admit Tesla is probably a $40 company eventually. but it didn't go to the moon in one day. It is not going to come back into a fiery, crashing ball of fire and extinguish all the dinosaurs either. But the one thing that we like to bring up here is just know when stocks are highly shorted, your chances of actually winning anything big are probably pretty small. 877-927-6648 as we continue on. Okay. Okay. What else do we have? Okay. Let's start looking at some of these because we've got a lot, and then we'll do some history at the top of the next break. Abbott Labs gap down today. Is there a lot of volume? No. Energy off the 115.96, 115.69 high January 11th. Certainly has been a little bit more than we've seen in the past. So it didn't come down on nothing. ADP open lower, continues lower on the day. I don't know if there's anything else you can say about that. Let's go back a little bit farther out here. It's ready to go back and retest a couple of these lows. Around 120, 118.80 is the October 13th low with 2 million shares. You got that already, so just figure you're going to come test the 118.80 low on ADP. Amazon was, I want to say it was lower. It's kind of come back up throughout the day. You didn't have a lot of volume up. You don't have a lot of volume down. I don't see a lot of trend in either way in that one. Arista Networks had a big candle, somewhat on the problems that many stocks had yesterday. Pretty flat today, not a whole lot going on. ASML got a lot of discussion. Looks like it's ready to go back and test 708.05. Again, this is one stock, kind of like Taiwan Semiconductor, that in the space, they are virtual monopolies. I don't know of anybody that, even if they wanted to, that wanted to compete with AMSL, that wouldn't have at least a 10-year run to start trying to build the same machines these guys have. Let's take a look here. Just keep an eye out, a weather eye out on what we have here. Oh, we're updating right now. So we got 4,008 on the S&P cash, which still puts us down 9 on the day. NASDAQ down 55, Russell's off 5. Crude oil's up 30 cents. Gold's up about $6, just trudging along slowly but surely. I think I can. Silver up 19 cents, which is 0.8% at 23.94. So we got a few things going on here. A lot of cross messages. My guess, though, is we're probably going to have some kind of pullback before we get to the FOMC meeting. We will.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And come back. Let's do a little history, and then we shall move on. And, got to play our history theme, don't we?
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 2004, Opportunity rover lands on the surface of Mars 3 weeks after its twin, Spirit, touched down on the other side of the planet. And, of course, Opportunity lasted a lot longer than Spirit. It ended up, I think, June 10th. 2018, set up initially for hoping that it would last 90 days and ended up lasting over 5,100 sols, which is a day on Mars, if you're from Lutz. Or you didn't watch The Martian, and then you'd know what a sol was. So that's kind of it. But, we got more rovers there. It's just, we're going to be driving around having a little bit of fun, I guess. Question is whether or not we'll ever get there. The biggest problem isn't building a ship to get there. The biggest problem is that by the time you got there, would your cancer have cancer? Being out in there unshielded is the biggest problem. I know they're working on it, but no one's really done a lot of animal research on whether that would happen. So my guess, the first thing that would happen is we're going to probably have to have some kind of animal go there and see what happens. But we've got, for the first time since I want to say 1972, we've got a large rocket fueled sitting on the pad over on the other side of God's state of Florida. And it's got a little over 10 million pounds of propellant in it compared to the Atlas V, which had about 7.2 or 7.3 million pounds. 877-927-6648. You can email me, and we'll get to it. But as I said, just horrifically huge shorts, and my guess is that most people will not be able to withstand yet another dash of their hopes that the end of the world was nigh, and we'll move on. So back to ASML. As I said, a nice day out here, not a lot of volume, but again, one of the few monopolies in the markets. So what else do we have? The Boeing Company, kind of a nice candle for this one with some decent volume as it goes and tries to attach the 216.64 January 13th high. Then at 8 million shares, you got 12 million today, so that's pretty good. To Capital One, what's in your wallet? Well, a lot more if you were long COF. A nice candle on this one with some decent volume as it goes back and approaches November 11th. COP. Now every time I see COP, all I can think of all those ads on there for the breathers, the COP breathers. Not much in the way of ConocoPhillips here today. Very, very light volume sideways action. Do I have it? Estee Lauder, whole lot of nothing. Interesting just how tough the market's been on in-phase and not on Tesla, which is kind of interesting. Tesla up $1.65 today, right now, and earnings out after the bell. We'll go through more of those later in the day. Anyway, 5.2 million shares, which is okay. It's not a blowout, but you are getting back to this area that did have almost a 12 million share day higher. That was back on July 27th of 2022. You went through that, and you really never had that kind of blow-through energy. So you have the possibility for in-phase having some kind of false breakdown. So I'd watch that one closely. FCX, Freeport-McMoRan, with a nice candle today coming back after the January 18th high. That high had 20 million shares at 46.38. You're at 46.18 right now, so you're almost there with 12 million shares going after 20, which is not good. FFIV, nice turnaround from lower in the morning. Where it came back down to the previous low. Unfortunately, you've got more volume today. You wanted to have nobody paying attention if you wanted to look at this one on a longer-term basis. On a short-term basis, I'd take my money and run. General Dynamics certainly had a push to the low at 220.33 today. Volume was okay. You're just back in here between two gaps that looks like some level of support. To Garmin, a no volume, nothing day out here. INCY, which is to Insight, testing a previous high on very light, if any, volume. What is that, about a fourth of the volume of December 8th? That was $84.58 with 2.25 million shares. Hitting that so far today with 600,000 shares. Let's go back and just make sure I am right on this one. Focus on delivery, development, and commercialization of therapeutics in the United States. Internationally, company offers drug for treatment of myelofibrosis. Yeah, stuff that sounds like it's no fun. A fibroblast growth factor receptor kinase inhibitor. Okay. Chronic myeloid leukemia. Okay, I know what that is. Acute leukemia. I don't know. Okay. Biotech, I guess, is the only way you need to describe it, unless you're going to go headlong into looking at this. But an interesting test of the previous high. Just looks like this thing's running out of steam. Doesn't look horrible, but out of steam. Intuitive Surgical, the stock that never seems to disappoint into earnings. You're going to have generally some rock and roll or a little bit country. You never know quite which with this one as a psycho stock, but right down into the middle of the gap higher. Now, that gap higher occurred on November 10th with about 4 million shares. You already have that back into this middle part. And you'd kind of think that with all the people that are going to have surgeries that put them off during the pandemic, this one would be doing better. But my guess on that is wrong. I don't know what's going on with it. Kimberly-Clark, the soft and fuzzy folks with lots of things for your nose and other parts of your body to wipe, is come back and filled the gap from the 18th of November. That was with 1.3 million shares, with 2 million shares. Now, it did kind of pop back up out of that, but you do have a higher volume test, at least on the daily, for that particular gap. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, we got a few more of these to look at, and then we'll look at earnings coming up. Microsoft was up a little higher after the bell last night, and then after the conference call, down a little lower. Just kind of hanging out today. Pretty close to the close yesterday. You know, when I look at these and these patterns, what I see right off the bat, a lot of times, are these double repo patterns. This one quite isn't it, but it is one of these things where you want to watch to see whether or not it closes back below in the next day or two, below this moving average. It would be problematic if it does. It doesn't look all that strong out here. Listening to the conference call, I wasn't bowled over either. Right now, I have a feeling that everybody's just kind of trying to keep it up as they exit stage left and a little bit of distribution. From the Knights who say knee, next era energy, big gap down with a huge candle down. Low is 75.90 with 20 million shares. So that's about the biggest you've had in the year for volume. You had one other day that was gap down. That was a little bit of that. So not looking good. Now you did kind of come off this gap that was on the 28th of October. That had 9 million shares, but you're already into that with 19. So maybe you get a little bounce out of here, but expect at least a retest around 76. My guess, though, is it's probably going to head back down to the 69.81 low of October 20th of last year. Other things we have going on is Progressive. Of course, Flo, the constant person on TV, pushing Progressive. I think it's the same company, right? I want to think it is Progressive. Let's make doubly sure. Yeah. Sometimes I have to double check even myself. Sitting right at the breakout area. Big candle. Volume's not all that exciting, though. Again, most insurance companies, you have to watch out in the declining market because they take your cash, put it in the stock market. When things start heading lower, so do insurance companies themselves, too. ROK in the USA, Rockwell Automotive, or Automation, excuse me. A couple of candles about the same. I don't see much going on in that one. A lot of talk pre-market about AT&T. And again, this is on the heels of the wacky yesterday. Let's see if there's anything better out here. Now, I mean, they're just horrible, messed up charts now on a lot of these. But you have a gap higher, volume's okay. You're not really moving through a lot of it. Resistance comes in really hard at about $20.50. So I think that tells you everything you need to know. Tyler Technologies. Don't know much about this one. So let's go ahead and take a quick look and see on this what these guys have to say. Integrated Information Management Solutions Service for Public Sector. Company operates in enterprise software, appraisal, and taxes, and NIC. It offers financial management solutions, modular funding account systems. Okay. And they're out of Dallas. Well, got to think that at some point we're going to be spending money, less money in the government at some point. Just don't know when, but this doesn't look all that exciting. UA out here, of course, Under Armour just banging against this massive gap lower that goes back to May 6th of 2022. That came down with 24 million shares. You've been banging against the bottom part of that with about 10 million shares, maybe at the max. So, you know, if you chew away it long enough, maybe you're going to get something. But you know, the real problem is that once you get to about $10, a lot of people will start shorting the stock. And you kind of have to dig through that for a while. If you get through a sign of strength at $10, though, you may look for a nice little short squeeze, maybe to 13, and fill that gap. Okay, let's go to the other earnings. As we said, okay, tonight we looked a little bit at Tesla. Let's go back and look at it again for after the bell action. Ooh, I got some emails too, I think. Okay, I better probably look at those. Last week you mentioned today, watch for the market rollover. You're right. Thanks, Pete. see what else we have out here. Okay, I'll get to those in just a minute. Okay, Tesla. I mean, the big problem you have here is just the massive short sellers in this. If this isn't a complete disaster du jour, man, could you get to 178? I think you could. Everybody's piled on this. And as I said, it's more of a dogma thing than the nature of the stock. But, hey, what can you say? Okay, also IBM. IBM's just kind of been languishing. I think they've got a bright future. The big problem these guys have right now is everybody's starting to hate the cloud business systems. And, of course, they bought Red Hat, and that's been one of the big drivers. But they're really not bringing in money on the quantum computing front just yet. So that's problematic. Okay, take a quick look at Flex. FLEX. And what do we have here? Got a lot of no volume and nothing. Steel Dynamics, STLD. For that. Okay. You had kind of light energy on the way up, lighter energy test on the high. Today you don't have a whole lot going there. I'd be worried about that one if I was long. I don't see any reason to short it here. Lam Research, LRCX. Look at that. Okay. And man, you went back up into that high. There wasn't a whole lot, but you're still hanging around. That, a few of these things may surprise us coming out of the semis. We look at these. Ameritrade Financial, AMP. Take a quick look. Well, this is just kind of up and away. You had a decent breakout, but that may be a false one, as you really didn't have a sign of strength following behind it. CSX also tonight. As we look at this one, the Choo Choo Company tested this gap up that goes back to November 10th. We shall return.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Brings up UNG, and of course we've broken through the last big low. We're now going back to lows that we saw in March and April of 2021. I don't know, it's a mystery to me. Got a lot of volume down here, which starting to make it look like there should be something here. The downside is we're kind of in January. Maybe you get a bounce into February or March, but generally that kind of puts off the next big rally into August of the end of the summer, unless something else changes. So, yeah, could you bounce to $13 or something like that? 13 and a half bucks, around in that range. I think you could. The problem I see, though, is that you're probably going to play around in these levels and consolidate probably through August now of this year. So it's a tough trade. Question about do I think the market's going to blow up on us sending tanks to the Ukraine and all that, and the Germans? I think it's a long ways away now, unless something changed. But when I was watching the think tanks talk and debate this last night a little bit, they're all saying that it would take 6 months for us to get the tanks there from the U.S., and it would take at least 4 months to even get them from Germany, because they've got to have all the parts and logistics and fuel and all the other stuff that they're going to need. So it's unless they really changed or were planning this way ahead, it takes a long time. If you remember the Gulf War, how long it took before we were ready to go. None of this stuff is a flip of a light switch. Now, a lot of those guys tend to be saying we need to get the tanks there and see how they do in battle. We don't want to have to go to war with China and not know if a lot of things have changed in warfare, mostly just because how bad tanks have performed in the Syrian conflict, especially the Leopard tanks of Germany, and now, of course, the tanks of Russia. So tanks, a lot of people talking about whether they're on the way out as a mode of warfare, just being too vulnerable with current technology today. So I don't know. Maybe somebody can call up and tell me that they're all wet about the 4 to 6 months part, but this market's got a memory about as long as a 6-year-old on those little things, those straws where the sugar you just dumped it out of. Yeah. So I think if we ever run into that, it'll come to fruition. But we may, if it's 4 to 6 months away, I think the market will start thinking it about 3 months and 3 weeks. 877-927-6648. Do we have somebody on the line? Sounds like maybe I do. Do we? No? Just some noise. Okay, let's get back to the market already in progress. Sitting at 4,005 on the S&P cash. So what else do we have here? Oh, wanted to go back through the rest of the earnings. We looked Flex, Steel Dynamics, Lam, Ameriprise, CFX. Okay, Seagate, STX. I'm always waiting for the last big surprise from Western Digital and Seagate, since more and more drives are less spinning drives and more are solid state drives. And the only people making money in solid state drives are the memory manufacturers and the controller manufacturer. There just isn't that much money to be made in it. There's some specialized stuff, but whether it's Seagate or Western Digital, you just wonder when these things are going to give it up for the last time. Now, of course, there's a lot of need for storage, and these guys are still in it, but their margins continue to slow down. We talk about Qualcomm being having kind of a black art to their business. Western Digital and Seagate had a kind of a black art, and it had to do with a lot of the magnetic recording and spinning drives and putting helium in these things and sealing them. And I mean, there's been just a ton of advancement to get a lot of data on a single drive. But at some point, it really matters because you let those spinning drives sit around there. They generate about 10 times the amount of heat and draw about 10 times the amount of power. So it may not be the upfront cost as much as the ongoing cost of spinning those drives that finally moves companies like Western Digital and Seagate to the ash can of history. But it's kind of tough to know exactly where that tipping point is going to be. But I think we're close. Anyway, Seagate, if you had to look at it, anything positive gets into about $67. Anything negative, probably $58, the way I look at it here. Okay, Raymond James, don't look at that. United Rentals, of course, this is a canary in the coal mine stock to see what's going on. When people are renting stuff, you think that there's a lot going on, especially in government for building or spending, so that URI is actually higher right now and close to highs, actually fairly good. The downside is that volume has slowly been coming out since about $330. So don't see a huge lot in that. And I think that to some extent we're going to see lower government spending by the feds and the locals. This seems kind of high up here, at least for me. But we may be a quarter early on that, see what these guys have to say. Service Now, also after the bell tonight. They're just, after getting hammered last time, what is this? Back in September, they didn't really have a lot of volume. They just kind of gave it all up. They're kind of crawling back up here, but what's the volume of that? About the same. But you're into these kind of double gaps that go back into the mid part of September. So don't know if there's a great deal there either. Okay, we looked at that. Look at that. Las Vegas Sands. This is going to be the first read since China kind of gave the nod of the head and the wag of the finger that things were going to fire back up in Asia for the gambling casino sites. This could be all over the place. I have no idea how many. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of business, but is this ahead of itself here? We'll be back in just a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as we look forward to tomorrow morning, we've got Valero Energy. It's not doing a whole lot other than hanging out at its highs. See, American Airlines also. These all have fairly decent business. The question is just how much did fuel prices hurt or help them? So we'll have a couple of those in the before the market opens tomorrow. Northrop Grumman, NOC. And it just seems for all the talk about war, these big military-industrial complex stocks aren't running higher. That makes something. We also have Love tomorrow, so we'll take a look at that. Southwest, where the rates or where the fee or the tickets aren't that expensive, and you generally have a ringside fight wherever you're going. Anyway, Southwest Airlines, whole lot of nothing going there. Sherwin-Williams. That'll tell us a little bit about housing. SHW. You've come all the way off the highs. You're just kind of bouncing around. Tough to say there. So, Alaska Air Group, JetBlue, JBLU. As we look at that one real quick. Actually hanging out at the highs. Again, these lower priced airlines we'll see tomorrow, and whether or not they were able to beat the spread on fuel costs. Doesn't look that bad, but a lot of these things look like they've come up off the lows fairly strongly. May not be that much left to the upside, even if they do surprise. Watch out for the big ones. Like I said, Tesla, massively short the last couple of days. Probably a bad idea to be short when everybody else is. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems